joining us today at Let's Talk About It with Latoya Monique. I am Latoya Monique, and we are super excited to have you join us today on our very first show. Our first show is talking about relationships. Relationships is a big spectrum. So we're here today. We're going to tone it down a little bit, and we're going to talk about baby, mama, and daddy drama. We're going to talk about the high statistics of divorce in the U.S. And we're going to get some personal testimonies of the guests that I have up here. Let me start off today by introducing my co-host, Mr. Arthur Everlast. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for being here.
No problem.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. And joining us today on the show also, we have Zundra Dilworth. Everybody. She is 45 years old, and she said as pertaining relationships, the one lesson that she learned was to learn to let God make a man of him before she ever would try to make a husband of him. How powerful are those words? I love that. Zundra, thank you for joining us on Let's Talk About It today.
You're certainly welcome.
Thank
Glad
you.
to be here.
Thank you so much. Also joining us today, we have Brandon Chamo. Did I say Chamo?
You said it right.
Thank you. Brandon Chamo, 29 years old, and his journey and his lesson of relationships is, in order to truly love somebody, you have to understand the person. You have to have understanding, which I thought was also a very powerful statement. So we're going to talk about relationships today. The one thing that we come into, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. So we are here today. So first, let me talk about relationships. Relationships are big, right? Because the reality is, each one of us have been in relationships, right? Right?
Yes.
Plenty. Some of us plenty, some of us none, but we've been in relationships. Okay, so it's a big spectrum. So let me start off with these remarkable statistics. They're crazy, okay? 40 to 50%, and this is according to the American Psychological Association, okay? 40 to 50% of marriages end in divorce in the U.S. Wow. Think of a piece of pie, right? You take half of that pie, and that's half of the marriages that end in the U.S. today. That's crazy. That's crazy. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And then it gives a breakdown from the CDFA, which is Certified Divorce Financial Analyst. What are the leading causes of divorce? So we're going to talk about that a little later in the show. But we're going to start off. Zundra, I want to first thank you for joining us again. And tell us what your rendition of a relationship is. What do you think, if you can make an ingredient, what would be some of the ingredients that you would add to make a decent relationship? Because nothing's ever going to be perfect.
Well, first of all, I thought about something really important when you were talking about relationships, because all of us have been in relationships. And I just realized as you were speaking about those statistics, relationships are voluntarily or involuntarily.
Talk to us about that.
So
That's deep.
What I was thinking is that the social consciousness must always remember we have to be participant.
In the relationship.
In the relationship.
We have to be participant in the
We have to
relationship.
be active participants.
What do you think relationships go wrong, Zundra?
I think relationships go wrong when most of us decide we can't be honest.
Really?
When most of us decide we need to bargain how someone feels in the relationship, how we feel in the relationship against the truth.
Okay. Is that safe to say that it's a selfishness, that we have to be selfless when we're in relationships? But when we start to identify that we want to be in a relationship, I don't think we really understand what the mechanisms of that relationship is. Can you agree?
I do agree. And also, when you say selfishness, I think it's more along the terms of, an exchange.
Yeah, it is an exchange.
I'm getting what I want in exchange for what you say
you can
want.
provide and give to
Absolutely.
me. That makes a lot of sense.
You know
You
what
want to
I call
chime in?
that? I call that the come up.
You call that the
Tell
come up?
us what the come up is,
Okay.
because
The
Ev
come
told
up-
me about the come up. Please tell the viewers
The
what the
come
come
up
up
is
is.
so unique nowadays, right? You got like 3 separate come ups. You got a financial come up, an emotional come up, and a sexual come up.
Okay.
That's deep.
Now, just with piggybacking off what you were saying, right? Somebody sees somebody and they think that, oh, I can come up with this person financially, and they use that to their advantage. Now, they're not really into a relationship part about it. They just into their little come up. But
Just for the money.
Yeah, but they're fronting about, hey, you know, oh, I love you, or whatever, however it goes, however that relationship thing goes. I think the more emotional one is a more shaky one because, you know, you have certain people that lean on people for an emotional pull.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's not right because if the other person is not into that, they into you, and you just pulling on them because, oh, you probably got out of a relationship that was bad and you just missed that person that you was sleeping with or laying with at
Right.
night. That warm body at night keeps people going. You know what I'm saying?
Can you
So-
agree?
It's psychological.
Yeah.
That's
So
psychological.
when you go with that emotional, it's real shaky with people because you can't really play with people like that.
Okay.
But a lot of people don't do that. They just want what they want, a come up. I want my emotional come up. Then you got the sexual come up, which is probably like, it's real rated X or whatever. But
So basically, being with somebody for 3 reasons. The come up is sexual, right?
Right.
Just getting your needs met on a sexual level.
yeah, because
right?
some people run into people that they are sexually
Attracted
good
to.
with,
Yeah.
good with, you know what
Right,
I'm saying?
right.
And you're like, hey, I like that. I
Right.
like that. But you're not into it for a relationship or
You just want
something
what you
more
want.
like the marriage and all of this other stuff that comes with it. You
Okay.
just want that.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
that's a real deep come up nowadays.
What do you think about that, Brandon?
Well, basically, with the come up concept, it makes perfect sense, and it's just selfishness. At the end of the day,
You do think it's selfishness?
people. This is the thing. Psychologically, humans are naturally selfish. It's just a natural reaction from when you're a child.
I
Right?
agree.
You have a toy. Another kid wants to play with the toy.
Yeah.
You didn't even want the toy 5 minutes ago. As soon as they want it,
You
now
want
I want it.
Yeah.
Same thing goes with a female. They wasn't even looking at you. Like, he's a bum, whatever. He got the same Jordans as everybody else.
Right.
As soon as her homegirl, like, he's cute. Now she wants you.
Now she
That's a
wants
check.
you.
It's just like
It's
a
the
child, like,
selfishness.
It's the selfishness.
Yeah.
It's just, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, everybody's out for themselves, and you have to learn to be selfless. It's a learned act.
I agree. I agree.
Because it's natural to be greedy.
Yeah.
This is why the world is the way it is, because it's just natural behavior. People aren't doing it on purpose, it's their impulse. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of females, they could really be in love with you, but they'll cheat because at that moment they're sexually attracted to
Somebody else.
so hold me down the block.
Let me chime into that, Brandon, and thank you for sharing that. Let me chime in. Did everybody here see the movie Addicted?
Yeah.
You didn't see it? Did you see
Zane.
I
it?
don't watch
some of it.
movies
I didn't
much.
watch the whole thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you see
I didn't see
it?
the whole thing. No.
You didn't see the whole
No.
thing?
I saw it.
Okay, so I've seen it. So the movie Addicted, basically, it was a book that was written by Zane, and they made a movie of it. And this young woman was a beautiful woman, the lead actress. She was a beautiful woman who had 11 husbands, and she had 2 wonderful kids. Right? She was a genius. She started her own company. She was doing all of this, but she became addicted to sex. So she had to get, rather her husband was giving it to her or not, and then she had like 4 lovers. She had a white dude who was a lover. She had this big chocolate daddy who was her lover. She had different
Yeah,
lovers.
girl too, right?
And they didn't show the girl in there, but in the book,
Yeah,
she did
in
have
the
a
book,
female
she had a
lover.
girl.
And so she loved sex. She loved sex. She loved the dynamics of sex. But to make a long story short, you've come to find out that this individual, this young lady, was gang raped when she was younger. And so this is what gave her the impulses and feeling like that she needed to cheat. So I wanna square in it. Did she have a right, as a man, I'm gonna ask you, do you feel like from the situation that happened with her, did she really have a right to cheat?
I wouldn't say she had a right to cheat. What she should have did in nowadays time, she should have came to her husband and really sat down and talked to him about that before running out in the street like that. Because the problems that causes within your house, a lot of people was not made for that.
I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna have to disagree because I'm saying that.
But
if
she
you-
had a
if you-
life-changing thing happen to her.
But she
you know
did
what I'm
have a
saying?
life change. So if you know, first of all, anytime, and if you've never been sexually molested, I have. If you've never been sexually molested, you can never really speak from a point of view to say she should have spoke to her husband, because you live in a shame. I'm speaking from my experience. When you are sexually molested, you live in a shame, and that shame carries you to keep that as a secret because you don't want anybody to know it. So what happens is you start speaking it out in different volumes. You start speaking it through sex. You start doing drinking, drugs, and this is why people become addicted to different things.
Well, why
so
did
to
she
say,
get married then?
because every woman wants to get. Georgia,
Yeah,
every woman wants to get married. Let's talk about it. Every woman wants to get.
You get married to this man. This man.
Not to tell him your dirty little secrets,
Why
huh?
not?
What do you mean? Why
He's gonna want to know yours.
Yeah, but
Whether it's hard for him to swallow or not, a lot of men want to know what's going on with their woman. Because at the end of the day, when he goes to work, he got to feel some type of security inside of himself that, yo, she's not playing around.
I understand that.
That's my woman. That's my wife.
I get that. But let me tell you one thing. I'm going to tell you what my mother used to tell me. Never tell your right hand what your left hand is doing. And therefore, in our humanity, I'm never telling anybody everything about me. Let's talk about this, Sandra. Come on, let's talk about it.
So I was younger.
Okay.
And it was my mother's boyfriend after she separated from my father.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I remember the most about that period of time in my life is that I learned at 10 or maybe 11 years old how to control my environment.
What do you mean about that? How did you learn how to control your environment?
Because when you learn, in essence, you're becoming a self-healer.
Okay.
Because what I needed to do at that moment is figure a way, develop a way that I could keep this secret without hurting my mom, without involving my father, who I knew would interact and violently respond.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother, who also would violently respond.
So you was trying to protect
and
them.
so I needed to protect everyone. I had a little sister who was also in the home. So what I'm telling you from a female adult perspective, coming from a place of healing, we can't enter into relationships expecting husbands and wives to become our emotional therapist. You know, just because she's going to make a good wife or he's going to make a good husband doesn't mean he makes a good listener. Doesn't mean he makes a good therapist.
Let's talk about it.
So what is she supposed to tell him when he finds out? Because he's going to find out. What is she supposed to tell him then?
There's a way to reveal information.
But she's going to tell him anyway then. You're talking about the truth. She's going to tell him anyway, so you might as well tell him and give him a heads up.
What we're going back to the point is she was not healed from the situation.
And that's a big deal.
So the issue is she entered into a relationship and it was unbalanced from the beginning.
She didn't know. She didn't know her own. She didn't know. Obviously, she didn't know herself well enough to know
to let
that
someone
she wasn't
in
ready
like that.
to involve somebody else in her life, which has skeletons that she was not ready to reveal.
Which comes down to one of my main points in relationships. The key factor in a relationship is not knowing him, it's knowing you.
And that's the God to honest truth. And I agree with that. And see,
like
the thing is, we are all so imperfect. And I don't care who you are, you want to bring something into that relationship. You are going to bring something into that relationship.
Absolutely.
Rather it be molestation, rather it be physically abused, being beaten in your previous relationship, rather it been verbally abused as a child, you're going to carry something in. And I love it because Erykah Badu had made a song called Bag Lady. And basically that song means leave your bags, but is that possible? That you really could leave everything from behind to carry into the new relationship? Most of us are not healed. Going back to what you said, Zandra, most of us are not healed because like I know, that healing process is a long journey. It is not something you wake up and the magic wand just takes it away. That healing process is everyday struggle, and you may be addicted to A, B, and C. I myself was addicted to many things before I felt like I was healed. You understand? I had to go through some things before I was healed. You understand? Some people become addicted to sex, as this young lady was. For me, it was drugs. For me, it was alcohol. For me, it was shopping, you know, to the craziest things. You understand what I'm saying? So it's a journey when you have been afflicted and violated in your life so much that it's a journey. I didn't want to bring anything into my marriage. But you don't sit still in life and say, okay, I'm going to wait. And then I'm going to openly tell this person my shame. You're not going to do that, You're not going to do that. You understand what I'm saying? And that's just what the reality
that
is.
Sounds like, I hear a lot of women say that, right? And it sounds like women don't believe that men have feelings too.
Okay, and we talked about this previously before. Brandon,
It's like robots, like when it's not.
Yeah, we don't have feelings.
Like, you don't know,
men don't have.
You never know.
So tell us about your feelings.
You make before I get you. You don't want to continue talking about that. That's what I'm saying. All right, cool. Because you never know, if you reveal certain things to a man, you may actually unlock certain things about him that you didn't know. Like that he'll feel a little more comfortable to reveal certain things with you because now you're building trust.
Okay.
Because you're exposing things that you didn't even have to really tell him.
Right.
So you're showing him that you're willing to actually trust him enough with your deepest, darkest secret. Then he may in turn also be very truthful with you.
And he could be very truthful, but then again, you flipping a coin up in the air, baby, because then he could maybe turn on you. Let's talk about that.
Life is a
But
gamble.
if he's the person who's going to turn on you,
you have
then
to
he's
know.
not that person.
You better off
He's not the
knowing
right
from the
person
gate
from the job.
if he's going to be able to deal with that.
Right.
From the gate, it's best if you come through straight up, transparent. Because at the end of the day, there's somebody for everybody.
Okay.
If this person does not like you because of things that you were not in control of that happened to you when you was a kid, he's not the person for you.
Okay, so
that's
let's
my point though, going back to the beginning of all things in relations. You need to be healed before you enter into these things, and this is why shows like this is so powerful, is because what we're doing now is trying to get in front of a lot of relationships that have come together without people knowing actually what it takes, the two participants. I don't feel, once again, you're saying, well, he needs to be able to deal with that, and you know, I just got to go in for the male figure in this moment. He does not need to be having to deal with anything. He is not your psychotherapist. Yeah. You need to be dealing with your own issues
before you can bring something to somebody else.
What space he has in his life.
Yeah.
You know, and if there is going to be an exchange, that's what relationships are. You know, whatever he's letting out, that's as much as you can take in.
Okay, and that makes a lot of sense. And thank you for sharing that, Zandra. Let me tell you something that my mother told me that her grandmother told her, which is my great grandmother, and I'm going to share it to the world today. And I want to talk about it after I share it. You can winter a man and you can summer a man, but you still don't know that man. And when I say man, I'm not talking men. I'm talking about us in general as people. You can winter a man and you can summer a man and you still don't know that man. How powerful is that? First of all, think about it. We go through seasons every time you turn around. First the leaves are falling, then it's summer, and then it's spring, and then it's winter and it's cold outside. And you go time after time, year after year, season after season, and you still don't know who you laying next to at night. I've been with my husband for 19 years. I'm going to say that one more time. I've been with my husband for 19 years. I got 3 daughters with him. And let me tell you this. I will not sit in front of this camera and anybody else to say, I truly know that man. Because I know I don't. And I can tell you I know he truly doesn't know me either. And that's what truth is. And that's why what my grandmother said made so much sense. Do you know there's people out here? And that came from because her husband went out and he had a whole nother family. Now this is back in the early 1900s. He had a whole nother family and she didn't know this until the funeral. Right? So let's talk about that. So if you really want to talk about what truth is and where truth lies, let's talk about that. Do you really know who you really be with? Even though you're with this person, you're having babies with this person, you're loving this person, and you say, I know, he knows everything about me. He knows everything about me. No, he doesn't.
First of all, the key to the answer to that is the fact that people don't even know themselves. 100%.
And that's what Zandra was saying.
Exactly.
And that's what she was saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I totally agree with her. I'm just saying that going to my point, whereas if you're transparent and you're being honest with somebody, you never know, because when you hold things in, you never know what you can reveal and you can release. You can release certain demons within yourself. Not on a religious level, but I mean just on an energy level.
Right.
Because people do need therapists sometimes. People do need outlets.
And that mate is supposed to be your energy.
And if that mate is meant for you and they accept you for who you are, that may be the key that unlocks all your pain. You never know. And until you take that chance, you're gonna forever have to carry that burden. You have to bear that cross at the end of the day. Everybody has a cross to bear. Everybody has skeletons in their closet. But you never know. Once you find somebody that you can actually trust, do you know what that is? That's worth more than gold. That's worth more than a million. If it happens.
Yeah.
I want to tell you
People go their whole life never meeting that person. But you never know. You might have that person right in front of you. It might be your best friend or your worst enemy. You just never know. Because the law of attraction works that way. And the way the universe works, the same person that does you wrong today will be a person to save your life later on. And that goes into relationships as well. The person that you're like, oh, I can't stand him, I hate him. And then the guy you cheating with over here because you think the grass is greener. This is the guy that's a jerk, and he's the one that actually would have helped you unlock that pain. You would never know.
That's right.
That's deep. What did you want to say, Ev? I'm sorry.
I know somebody, right? She just lost her husband, and
Let's
she told
talk
me that
about this.
she told me that they was married for 60 years, and I said, yo, I've never even known anybody that was married that long. And the way how she was talking to me about it, I can't sit up here and say, oh, he never cheated on her or she never cheated on him. But I know that they had a bond that was unbreakable. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people look for when they get to a relationship. Just that bond with a person. We don't know their secrets, what they was talking about at night, what they could have been doing. 60 years. Like
60 years is a long time. Let's talk about that. 60 years is a long time.
Right.
And we talked about this before, and we shared this, and I must say it. I said it before, and I must say it again. Let me tell you the truth of the matter. By me being with one man for almost 2 decades, 20 years, I'm going to justify this because I got the right to say it. You want to know why? Because I've been there and did it. Let's keep it 100%. Okay? They went through some stuff. Because when you are with somebody for 60 years, you can, and I said this before and I'm going to say it again, it's 2 types of women. And I'm going to speak from a woman's perspective because I'm a woman. I can't speak from a man's perspective. But let me say this. It's 2 types of women in my opinion. And Zandra, I'm going to let you chime in on this when I'm done and see what you say.
But
it's two types of women. It's the first kind of women that when they find out that you did something to them, cheated on them, you didn't took some money from them or whatever, okay? She's out. She might give you a second chance, maybe even a third chance, right? And she's gone. That's that Burger King generation. You want it your way, right? And then we have that woman that no matter what old boy does, she ain't going nowhere. You can cheat, you can have, like my great grandmother, you can have families, you can have, and I will never believe that these things are happening and you don't know about it. Because I'm a woman, okay? Investigator number 1. It can happen, but at the same time, in this generation, with all this techno going on, it's hard for me to believe, and I'm not saying right or wrong, right? But I'm saying that you go through some things when listen, you gotta turn your eye. Sometimes when you want to choke brother out in the middle of the night, you
all right, so what about him then?
Okay, but again, hello, I'm talking from,
for 60 years with her.
I said again, I'm talking from a woman's perspective. Again, I'm talking from a woman's perspective. Okay, I'm not talking from a man's perspective.
Well, I'm gonna talk for the man.
Okay,
I'm gonna talk with you because I could imagine what he went through with her.
Okay,
the kids, the changing of the monthly changes. Yeah. Not even the seasons. He's going through the monthly changes.
Season change.
Yeah.
Maybe daily.
Yeah.
Women change.
Is this y'all attack against us?
No.
Because
it's the truth.
The thing about women, right, is that women are naturally emotional, right? And that's what makes you beautiful. That's what makes you unique. We're all emotional, even men. Right. But women are more in tune with their emotions because you give birth. It must be some kind of reason for that, right?
Okay.
So let's just deal with that fact, right? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Mother Nature. Nature is forever changing, non-remaining. This is what my pops always taught me. He never said that women are bad. He just said that don't put 100% of your heart into any female because...
That's what your daddy told you. Okay.
He said because... He said you can't live with her, can't live without her.
I love that.
Like nature. That forever changing, non-remaining. They
Okay.
will always change. That
Okay.
doesn't mean that you can't put up with a female, you know,
Right.
because people are going to change. All
But
people
never
change.
put your heart and
But
soul.
never, because then you'll kill you, you'll die. That's how it is. So always have a reserve. Like, put your heart in the box,
Wow.
you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, you can give a piece. I'll give a piece of my heart to a female if I really like her a lot.
But
I
you're
might
not
give
giving
her
the whole thing.
What? For what? Well, that's like giving your spare tire away. And you're on a trip somewhere.
God.
That's ridiculous.
That's it. Then
That's
you're ass
stupid.
out.
You're ass out. Now
Then
you
you're
got
done.
flat. The sun done went down, your GPS, your phone died, it's over. You can forget about it. And that's basically what you have to do with your heart. I'm not saying protect your heart to the point where you would never love, because then you'll forever be, you know, you'll never seek that part.
So let me
part of
ask you a
life.
question right there.
Yeah.
What is, how do you give 20% of love? How do you give 50%? I mean, because me myself, like, I'm all encompassing. I don't know at this very moment how to give each of you on this set 10% of me.
And some people ride like
So
that.
how do you give someone 50%? How do you give them 75%? How
That
do you
comes
know
with
you
trust.
give
My
them
percentage is based on
80%?
the percentage that I'm receiving. It's like a give and take. So if you're giving me 100% of your assumed love, because you don't know anybody 100%. So if you tell me you love me 10 times a day, I'll believe that you like me a lot.
Right, those are words. But
Yeah, it's a
what-
word.
what
But if you show me
clarifies-
certain things, because I don't know, you could change. Things happen. So I would be a fool to give 100%. Nothing in this world is 100%. Everything is 99.9%. Even Lysol is only 99.9% kills germs. Okay?
That's a man-made product.
That
I'm
is
just saying.
man-made.
But so is the concept. So in love is not a man-made.
But we are not man-made.
We're not man-made, but we're man-manipulated.
Okay. We're gonna stop it right there.
Our intellect is man-manipulated.
Wait.
Social media. I'm sorry to cut you off.
It's okay,
I'm
no.
on the road
I
right now.
know you are. We're just gonna stop it right
Leave
there.
it alone.
This is intense, and as I had said to you, relationships is a big spectrum, and we have touched on a few different things. And you know, I'm in college right now. I went back to school after 40 minutes, and 40 minutes after 40 years. And I'll tell you the one thing that I'm learning in my philosophy class is that an argument is not either valid, it's not right or wrong. It's either valid or invalid. And this is why I respect us coming up here and speaking from our own personal feelings and the things that we've seen and things that we've been through. And you know, it's nothing right or wrong about it. And this is why I appreciate being able to be on a plateau, to be able to speak your emotions, especially men, because I think you're so introverted. But we're not going anywhere. We're going to take a short break right now, and then we're going to come back. We'll have a couple of new people up here talking about their experiences. And listen, let's talk about it. The Latoya Monique Show. We'll be right back. And we're back. Let's talk about it with Latoya Monique. Up here today, we have two new guests joining us. And we have Jasmine Jefferson, 20 years old. And Jasmine said in her relationship that she learned to not believe everything a man tells her. Well, let's talk about that in a few minutes, Jasmine. I agree. And we also have Marina Nina Sapelis. Did I say it right? Sapelis, 34 years old. And her angle on the relationship and her lessons were she believed that love exists. I love that love still exists. And she also says that if a man is cheating on you, it doesn't mean that he doesn't love you. So let's chime in on that for a little bit. Jasmine, let's start off with you. You've learned not to believe everything that a man tells you. Tell us, where did that come from for you, honey?
It came from a past relationship. I was in and out of for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So we would fall in. He would tell me one thing, it's another. I'll try to reverse it into something else
Mm-hmm.
and make me comfortable with it
Mm-hmm.
when it's really not the truth. It make me think that it's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And
So he's just a liar.
it's a liar.
Just a low down dirty
Inside,
liar.
lies for
He was
nothing.
a
Do you
liar.
feel like all men are liars now behind that?
To a certain extent.
To a certain
I
extent.
think that's
They
all
feel like they
people.
have to lie
Mm-hmm.
for nothing. I really don't know why.
Every man you encounter?
Every man you encounter
You're a
lies.
beautiful woman. I'm pretty sure that you encounter at least 3 men a day that try to get your number,
And
right?
you're generous.
Probably 10. He pushed it to 10.
I forget Facebook.
Oh, See, I didn't even go with the social media thing. I just
That's
said
reality.
you're on the street. I'm just going with the street.
Yeah.
So
And
you
think all three of them is lying to you every day?
No, I said to a certain extent. It
Oh,
could be
okay.
different certain situations where a man feels like they have to lie just to keep themselves covered or don't want to enter something that they didn't have planned.
Well, I think the truth is we all lie as human beings, right? We all lie. You know, I don't think anybody up
The
here has
numbers
not.
don't lie. Man.
Yeah, men lie, women lie, but numbers don't lie. That's what Jay-Z. Yeah, they could be deceiving, but they don't lie. Because at the end of the day, if you got a little bit more in that bank account, that ain't your money. Let's talk about it, okay? All right, so Jasmine, so you saying that, okay, they lie, but we all lie, right? We all, none of us are, cotton candy free up here, and we all lie. What do you think about that, Nina?
Well, I think all people, like you said, all people lie. I mean, to a certain extent, there's something behind it. If there's some reason, there's some shame, there's some angle, some way that you feel to prevent what you're trying to get at. So if a guy's trying to talk to her, but it's in the person. I think it's in the person. Like you guys were talking about transparency before. There's not a lot of people today, not men or women. There's not a lot of people today who are transparent.
That's all
Okay.
that come up.
Okay, and
That's all that come up.
okay, so that's
It's
all the
all
come
the
up.
come up.
So listen, because we're gonna go into the come up. That's a fact. We're gonna go into the come up because number one, people don't really know what the come up is, and we talked about it a little bit on our previous segment, but we're gonna talk about it in a little bit more detail for those of you who didn't know. Because I know when he brought it to me, I didn't know what the come up was. My little suburban life. Let's talk about it.
I mean,
But
you know what? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take it to the social media since it's so big. Social media is so big right now.
Can I just 1 second before we do that? Because we were talking about lies. Promise we're going to social media. I want everybody up here to say what's the biggest lie you've heard? What's the biggest lie somebody told you? Do you want to start off, Al?
Wow, the biggest lie a female has ever told me.
Yeah, I want to hear it. I am curious.
I can't even think of that one right now.
Really? All right, we're going to come back to it. And Nina, please tell us the biggest lie a man has ever told you.
I didn't touch that woman, and she ended up pregnant.
Oh, okay.
Now he's just a dumb dummy.
No, she ended up pregnant later.
Oh, she ended up pregnant,
Yeah.
but he was saying that he didn't touch her.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Brandon, what's the biggest lie a woman told you, honey?
Oh man, too many to count. I would say, I'm a virgin.
Really?
Yeah.
Stop it.
Nah,
I'm
not
a
2016,
virgin?
baby.
Do we still say that anymore?
I heard it
I
exactly.
have a friend who was a 29-year-old virgin. So,
Okay,
And they
I'm-
moved, and
and she's
movies about
she's
it.
They make-
beautiful.
They did
You,
movies.
wait. So hold
Four-year-old
on.
virgin.
Wait. I'm very curious. That she told you that she wasn't a virgin,
No,
and
she
then
said she was a
she
virgin.
was a virgin, and then you
I
found
don't-
out. And
Go ahead.
okay, so you found out she wasn't a virgin because
Okay, are kids gonna watch this?
you could talk
Alright,
about
cool.
it. Let's
So, yeah,
talk
so-
about it.
So we're hanging out, right? I'm not gonna say anything. That's not nice. I'm not gonna
Make
say
it short
anything.
and sweet for
Yeah,
us.
so long story short, we're hanging out, we're in the whip, so we're going somewhere. So she's like, yeah, I'm a virgin, blah, 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 blah. And then like 10 minutes later, you already know.
How old is she?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you are okay. So 10 minutes later.
Oh, she's young, she's like 24.
Okay,
You know.
so 10 minutes
I feel
later.
possible.
So 10 minutes later, you already know. Ladies, it's just two things. I have to bring my mom back here that you can't lie about. One is being a virgin. The other one is being pregnant. I mean, God forgive me, but if you're gonna
But
keep
why they
it,
still try?
no, because it is what it is. I'm just saying, it's just something you just can't lie about. That's crazy. Jazz, talk to us. What's up? What was the biggest lie you heard? I know we started off with this with you, but
She's staying with me, but we're not sleeping together.
That's
all right. So she's staying with me, but we're not sleeping together. That's crazy, and I'm not even gonna go there because I'm gonna believe that we already know what that situation is. You know, let's hypothetically say he's either married or with his baby mama, or he got something going on at home, and he's trying to get his boo thing on the side, which is you, and he's telling you these things because he still want to get some of the cookie. All right, we got that much. Okay. Ooh, some of you men, ooh, shame on you. All right, women, you ain't so good either, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm about to
Okay,
say,
Ed, we going back to you. What's up with you? What was up?
Oh,
Did
man.
you think of one of the lies? Now, come
Yeah,
on.
I
you've
didn't
been
do
with plenty
anything.
of-
She said I didn't do anything.
She didn't. I didn't.
Oh, man.
But,
You know
but
what?
her panties was wet. You see what I'm saying? That was the whole
Stop
gig.
it.
I'm
She
dead
said she
serious.
didn't do anything, but her
Yo,
panties
this
was
is
wet.
like 4 in the morning. She comes in the crib and says, yo, I said, yo, your panties is wet? Are you bugging? She's like, yo, I didn't do, I pissed on myself. I said, what?
Okay, I'm done. Wait, I'm
Yo,
done.
she said, yo, I couldn't get the key in the door. Yo, I was
Because
rushing.
she was
I
excited
was
to
drunk.
come
Yo, but come on. She hit me with so many lanes at the time. I'm like, yo, come on, bam, what?
Wow. I literally thought, Brandon, but you definitely got him beat on that one. You pissed on yourself? I hope you're not watching this.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to move on to social media. Relationships can be complicated, but we also know that relationships can be really, really peaceful if you have somebody you love and you're with somebody and that person makes you feel protected and that person is there for you, and when something goes wrong at work you can call that person. It is no greater feeling when the relationship is a great thing. So Ev, let's talk about social media. You wanted to talk about it.
I got a question for
Okay,
everybody.
yes.
Do everybody believe that being that social media is so big now, do you believe that your relationship is that important that it has to be on social media now? Because I've seen a lot of that.
Yeah,
I've
it
seen
is.
a lot of that.
Instagram,
I'm seeing that, like,
so Facebook,
yeah, you don't even have to be like an item. It's just a bam, like, oh,
and
here we
they'll
go.
blast you on Facebook
Yeah.
or Instagram.
Is
That's
that
crazy.
important? Is it that
But,
important
okay, here's the
nowadays?
thing. For me, it's transparency, and I keep going back to that because you hit the nail on the head. Is because I'm a transparent human being, right? So everything, like, I'm straight up all the time, 100%, always, right? So like, if I'm with somebody, it's not even like that's my man or my cousin or whoever. Like, if I want to take a picture, I'm gonna take a picture, and whoever wants to think whatever of whatever, I don't care. So if I'm in love, the world's gonna know I'm in love. Like, I don't feel like there's any reason to hide anything from anywhere. And I understand there could be negative responses to that because there's always people hating, or there's people who are gonna try to
Always
get,
a hater.
yeah. There's always
Always,
different
always
ways
a
that you
hater.
can add negativity to that. But when you control your own energy, nobody can do anything.
But do you feel like it's important to put your relationship on social media now?
I feel like it's important to be honest, and if you're in a relationship, then that's part of who you are.
What do you think about that, Jasmine?
I think that a lot of times you wouldn't want it to be known.
You don't want it to be
You
known.
would want it to be
Oh,
known.
you would want it to be
So
known.
even if, because everybody lurks, everybody pre, that's our word pre, you know?
Okay.
And when they see that, and they see that you're in a relationship, they might fall back from what they wanted to do, you know?
Do you agree with that, Brandon?
Well, yes, I agree with that.
Okay.
And just to touch on that real quick, briefly,
Mhm.
it's pretty. All right, social media is pretty much a virtual window into people's thoughts. That's what it is. It's like people go there, and when they're angry, they're expressing their anger on there. Forget who likes it or not. They just want to splat it out. When they're in love, they just want to say, "Hey, I'm in a relationship," and take beautiful pictures and stuff like that. At first, I thought it was corny, but then I started to understand the psychological part of it. It's really like you're showing people what you're thinking, what you're feeling. That's it. The whole world. That's what it is. So it's not important, but it will happen because that's where everybody's at. That's where people are tuned in. Where they're in the matrix. So it's like, hey, I'm in love. It's just like having a wedding. If you really love somebody, why do you have to invite everybody to your wedding? If you're really in love, what do you even go to the Queens Boulevard?
Yeah.
Go out to
Get your piece of paper.
Why do we gotta get all this
Why do you
stuff?
have to-
Why I gotta spend all this
Why do
bread?
I have to impress everybody that you're in love? You know you're in love. What do you gotta show to everybody?
Right.
I
Let's
feel
see.
like social media is like your own personal corkboard, right?
Yeah.
Like, I like a picture, I'm gonna put it up there. This is representative of me and who I am and what I'm doing right now at this moment.
Right.
I'm a workout fiend, right? So I'm gonna have workouts on my pinboard. I'm just giving you an example.
Right.
You know? So that's your representation to the world. It's like, this is what's important to me right now. This is what I love. This is what I'm doing. And if people like it, that's great. If they don't, that's great. But at the end of the day, this is me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's how I
Everybody
see
sees
it.
it.
Right, and I like that. Relationships, as I said before, it is a big spectrum. I am so grateful to God that we was able to sit here today and talk about it. We can have maybe a part 2 and bring you guys back on so we could talk about it some more, but unfortunately time doesn't let us. Rather you are somebody's baby's mother, baby father, rather you are in a relationship or in a marriage, newly divorced or been divorced, let's just say that relationships can be difficult, they can be complicated, but they also could be very loving, they could be very supportive. So here at the Latoya Monique Show, when we're talking about things, we just want to talk about from the spectrum of your individuality, because each one of us have gone through different things. We have different reasons why we feel the way we feel. We come from different backgrounds. So it's a big thing. We're not saying anybody's right or anybody's wrong. We're not saying that it's good to be on social media or it's bad to be on social media. We're just talking from our God, given spirit, and it all makes sense. So I am so grateful that you guys joined us today on our very first show, Let's Talk About It with Latoya Monique. My co-host, Mr. Everlast, Mr. Arthur Everlast, who is up here joining me. Jasmine, thank you for coming. Brandon, thank you for coming. Nina, thank you for coming. And let me tell you something. We have the free will to talk. So let's talk about it. Remember, stay humble, remain grateful, and you will always be blessed. We're out. Until the next time.